Today was a fairly easy day to trade. I was doing the videos on OBS, but I'm gonna just do it from this camera today, just to show you what I saw. So today started out. I jumped in SPY. For some reason, I was already in some Tesla puts. I had jumped in some Tesla puts up here the other day. The other day I caught Tesla when it was kind of trending up. So we see I went up to around 340. It almost pushed up to 350. So I jumped in some puts. I think it was, what was this, Tuesday? Was it Monday? Monday I just watched it, and then Tuesday I think I jumped in the puts up here. And I was up a few hundred right here, but I think I was using my account, and they marked me as a pattern day trade on that account, so I couldn't get out the trade. But I really was looking for it to get to this zone before I took profit, so I was being patient because I had noticed that I was trading on the hour, and I noticed that Tesla was showing this pattern. This is what I had noticed. I had noticed that it was overbought here. So I went ahead and jumped in some puts because I've been watching Tesla for a while, and it's really been trading between like this 350 and 300, maybe 290 at the lowest, and maybe 320 being conservative. So I was right here. I jumped in my puts when I noticed it was overbought. I drew my zones. I told myself if it left this 347, 348, I was just gonna get out the trade, but I knew it wasn't gonna leave that zone because it had already made a crazy move up in the last. I mean, this move from here to here was crazy. So it was reaching resistance, and I knew that we was gonna eventually get some pullback. So today I ended up exiting the position. I exited right around here for like a 30. I think I was up at around 40% gain right here. I really wanted to wait for it to go down here, but then at the same time my contracts are gonna start getting eaten up. They're gonna start losing value. So I just went ahead and sold the contracts and took my profit. So that was an easy. It was like I went light with like 500. So I think I made around 60% on both of those trades. And I was in around 600, so I made around 60%. It was like 33% by the time I closed out. So then I jumped over to SPY just for fun, and I marked out some levels this morning. My level was at 643.05 right here where you see my line. I waited for the break and retest. It broke under it a couple times, and I just stayed patient. I was originally just watching like the 5-minute, the 15-minute, an hour, but I noticed once I got in the trade, I moved over to the 2 and the 1 minute because I wasn't trying to stay in this trade too long. So I seen it. This was my level right here. It was at 643.05, and I knew that if it broke this level, if it stayed above this level, we were going to have a bullish day. And for sure enough, we went bullish. We went up right here to around 634. I was up around 50%, but I didn't get scared. I stayed in the trade because I had only bought one contract, and I bought a contract that was about $2 out the money. So I really didn't have much to lose. So I went ahead and stayed in the trade, and I was up around 50% here, pulled back to around 30%, but I was still green. I told myself if we start getting down to these levels, then I was just gonna probably just stop my losses. But it really never went below this level and never stayed below this level. So I stayed in the trade. I ended up staying in the trade. I'm up around 90% right here. I went ahead and took profit on the first pullback. It ended up keep going up. It continued to go up. But like I said, I ended up getting out the trade right here. I was at around 90% profit. By the time I got out the trade, I was around 80% profit right here, which was good for me. It ended up going up. I could have been up around 120%, but I got out the trade. This would have been a good opportunity for me to buy a put. I could have rode it right back down to my original zone, took another profit. That would have been another 80 to 100% had I pivoted and got my put. But I didn't. I just took my profit, and I was happy. You know, I had made the trade on Tesla. Tesla was profitable. That trade was profitable. This one was profitable. So I didn't want to be greedy. I was up over 150% today off these moves. So yeah, put would have been nice. I could have re-entered back in this zone because it never fell below this zone. So could have re-entered right here. This would have been another 50% move. It tested the zone again. It broke below it. This was my stop loss area, but it never went down there. Tested it, broke out, and it did the same thing. Boom, went back up. This is another 90% move, almost 100% move, and it's been pulling back for the rest of the day. So it was a pretty easy day to trade. It traded along my support line, and it kept bouncing off it. So it was just easy. It was easy to see what was going on. It never did anything outside of my two zones right here. This was the pre-market high. For a second, it went over it. I kind of anticipated it doing it, but once it got here, I was good. This was enough for me. This was a good enough move for me. It was almost a $2 move from here to here. 435. It went up to almost. It went up to 645. That was where I bought a call, a 645 call over here. So I bought a $2 out the money, and by the time it got close, I didn't want to risk people thinking that it wasn't gonna hit the 645. Did I say 235? I meant 645. I didn't want people to think it was going to hit the 645, so I went ahead and took my profit right here. But sure enough, it hit that, and that was a 100% move right there. But it was a pretty easy day to trade. I also jumped in a bull trade, and it was crazy because I ended up getting in the trade around right here. Then it pulled back, and I was like, oh, shit, I'm about to take a loss for the day. But then I checked it a couple hours later, and I was in a 1550. I was in a 1550 call. Went up to almost 1560. I sold like right here. I was like, fuck it. Took some small profits. So we had a green day today. We're having a green week so far. I don't know what I was doing last week. I was doing some dumb shit. I really wasn't trading last week, but this week, you know, been really conservative on my spending this week. So I really wasn't risking that much money, but I ended up making like 700% on what I invested this week. I was only investing a few $100s at a time, and it's been playing out. We're having a green week. Like I said, I don't know what the fuck happened last week, man. I was just doing some dumb shit. Yeah, I put up like $800 on a SPY put, and it just went the wrong way, and it ended up bouncing back up after I sold, like, you know, an idiot. Ended up bouncing back up, so I would have been in the green. And this was also a 0 DTE. I don't know why I'd spent so much money on a 0 DTE, because the market was bouncing up all week, and had I just bought a contract that stayed for another day and I stayed in this trade, this would have been a green trade. So I was just reevaluating my moves this week. I didn't want to do no dumb shit, but as you can see, I've been just having a lot of green days. So I'm getting back to my formula. I'm playing it safe. I'm not over leveraging. But yeah, I made over 700% this week. If I add it up, yeah, this was last week. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but this was all this week. I think this was Friday. This was Friday, I think, or I don't know. But yeah, all this week so far, I've been green. Like I said, I've just been playing it safe, man. I'm not trying to, haven't been risking too much money. I'm just more so learning, trying to understand the market more so than thinking about, you know, taking huge profits. I mean, I obviously could risk more money if I want to, but then you could lose more money at the same time. So I'm happy just taking these small profits. I'm learning to take these 17%, these 20%, these 30%, and just being happy with it. Even these 13%, I'm learning to take these and just be happy. Leave the trade green. There's no reason to turn winning trades into losing trades. So what my week has looked like so far. I'm probably probably won't scale up next week. Probably won't. If I could just take it slow and just do, you know, 1,000, 2,000 a week, I think that's good, a good start. I'm still considering myself a beginner, so I'm not trying to over leverage, man. I've over leveraged and I lost $30,000, $40,000 just being too hasty and rushing and trying to go for 100% trades every time. So I'm starting to be happy taking these 10% wins, 20% wins, and you just rinse and repeat. So hopefully tomorrow's another good day, and I can end this week off green. I'll let you know what happens.